I think that's our job, is to be as honest and, offer, full disclosure when it's going to be a fantastic deal, and be totally honest and brutally honest when it's not going to work.
Hey, hey, it's Kevin Amos, Pine Financial Group, where we work together so you succeed. Hey, you found us here on Facebook or YouTube or maybe Instagram, wherever you're watching the video. Please help us out. We're trying to help more real estate investors just like you. We could do that or you can help us do that by hitting like, hitting subscribe, and maybe leaving us some comments below. Let us know what you think about the channel and these videos. We have another Meet the Team video, our newest, I guess, acquisition, if you want to call it that. Mr. Ken Blevins, we are so excited to have you on the team, and I'm really excited for the video so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. So welcome to the video, man.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm excited to be here, excited to be part of Pine, and yeah, appreciate the opportunity to do this.
Well, let's get to know you a little bit here. So who is Ken Blevins?
So I have. Well, I'll start at the beginning. I was born and raised in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is about 50 miles west of Philadelphia. So I'm a big Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers fan. I've been in Colorado now for for 25 years, and I tell everybody, if I could only bring my sports teams here, this would be the best place in the world. So, but I grew up on the East Coast, went to Temple University, entered the workforce in 1991, and so I'm aging myself here. At the time, it was terrible environment, for finding a job, and I took a job with a local savings and loan. They don't even have those anymore, savings and loan,
Right.
doing 30, 60, 90-day collections. And back then, there was no CRMs, there's no computers. We basically had this Rolodex of cards, and they would be people that were in default. You'd pick out a card and give them a call and write down what the outcome of the call was, and off and running. And so that was my, I left Temple with a major in marketing and a minor in real estate. And so that mortgage collection seemed like, it's close enough. Let me jump into that. But that led to, I was there for a few years, worked in the foreclosure department, the bankruptcy department, and I got an opportunity to go to work for Prudential in Connecticut in a larger role as a REO specialist. And so at the time, foreclosures with savings and loan and everything were starting to rise, and just got an opportunity to do third-party REO disposition for Prudential, and then later Conti Mortgage. So I spent 3 years in Connecticut, moved back to Pennsylvania, was with Conti Mortgage. And they were a subprime lender, so I should have saw the future of what was going to happen.
Nobody
Subprime
saw it,
lender
man. Nobody saw it.
in the late 90s. This is still the late 90s, but they went under with the Russian ruble crisis back at that time. I don't even know if anybody remembers any of this, but yeah, went under. I remember we had a first payment default department that did 8 people that did nothing but call first payment default. So if that doesn't, show you a sign of the times as far as what was to come. But that company went under, and I got a call from somebody who worked in Denver, Colorado, Matrix Bancorp. Reached out and said, "Hey, we have a third-party REO disposition. Our president just left. Would you come out to Colorado?" And I had never been to Denver, and figured, hey, they were going to put me up in a hotel for the weekend, meet with me on Monday morning. They said, if you didn't like it, you got a free trip to Denver. And so that's what I did. Came out. The rest was history. At the time, they offered me the opportunity. Wasn't married, had no kids. Moved out here to Denver in 2000, September of 2000. In fact, my first start date was 9/11 of 2000, so a year before the
Oh,
actual
I didn't know
9/11.
that.
So I'll always remember that time
Yeah.
frame. But yeah, so I joined Matrix Bancorp, and ran their third-party REO disposition company until 2004, which we sold it to First American at the time. Left First American, thought I was going to do hedge fund, and we found a great strategy, a mobile home strategy. Did that for a few years. And then the subprime crisis hit. And so everybody in our mobile home portfolio, looked at the credit quality and figured subprime mobile homes were even below subprime and asked for all their money back. And so we had a 90-day lockup and decided to go ahead and, liquidate the portfolio to give all the investors money back. But to this day, that was a fantastic strategy. But at the time, I was trying to figure out what to do next. Obviously, new REO, subprime. This is 2008. Subprime was coming. The crisis was coming. So we jumped back into REO disposition, created a company called PMH Financial, built it up to 150 employees. That's where Brandon McKnight and I met. And so there's the connection there with Pine, with Brandon. So he worked for me for a few years. We ended up selling that to Stewart Title in 2011. I had an earnout at the time, stayed with Stewart until 2013, July 2013. Ended up leaving, at that time and jumped back into real estate at the local level. So we had our own brokerage, back in the PMH days, Metro West Real Estate, that we could assign our own local listings to here in the Denver Metro. I wasn't licensed at the time, but I jumped back into that business, became licensed. And really the last 10 years before I joined Pine, have spent in the real estate space, focused on REO liquidations, corporate owners and sellers. I've done a ton of, personal sphere and retail transactions as well. I did about 20 fix and flips of my own between 2018 and 2022. Probably still be doing those today, except my contractor partner ended up moving to Las Cruces with his brother to build new builds. And I handled all the financial and acquisition side. He handled all the construction. And so I don't know that as well. And so I haven't flipped anything since 2022. But when the opportunity arose to join Pine and, just looking at my background, this was the one piece that I really didn't have a deep knowledge of, the hard money private lender side. I had used private lenders and understood the, being a customer of it, but not, being in the day-to-day business. And so when that opportunity arose about 2 months ago, I've been with Pine for about 2 months now, I jumped on it. And so there is a quick, not so
Yeah.
quick, background of my history, my experience, my 30 years in the business. And I'm loving it. This is the first time I haven't had to be in charge of the day-to-day operations in about 15 years. And so I'm really enjoying that aspect of it as well.
I wrote in, you probably read it, but I wrote in the newsletter an introduction to you, to our readers. And
Yep.
I said that like he has an amazing resume. And so for the viewer, you could see like you've done a lot in this business. It's interesting. I started out in mortgage collections also at
Did you
Chase. I don't
really?
know if you knew that. Yeah. I
I
only
did not.
lasted 3 months, man, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is all outbound calls and people are hanging up on me and they don't want to talk to me. So
No,
uh,
no.
yeah, being on the origination side instead of the collection side, way more fun. You're actually
Yeah.
helping people. So
Yeah.
this
But
is the
I
better
but I
side of
will
the
tell
business.
you, I think that is great experience for
Yeah.
anybody entering the job market, the ability to pick up a phone and talk to people, and not have that fear. So many people have the fear of,
Yeah.
just reaching out and calling people. They say, public speaking, but, more people are afraid of actually picking up a phone, talking to somebody one-on-one about originating either, new business or collecting a debt or whatever it may be than public speaking. So that tells you, the levels there. But yeah, if you're new to the job market and you can get that skill under your belt, that's a fantastic skill set to have.
I didn't know that, Ken. So you're telling me, because you've heard this.
Yep.
If you're ranking like fears, that public
Yeah.
speaking ranks higher than death, right? We've all
Death.
heard this. So what you're saying is phone calls, public speaking,
Public
and then afraid
speaking,
to die.
and then death.
That's crazy. All right, so tell us about your family. I mean, married, kids, I know that. So tell us a little bit more about your personal.
Yeah, so married to my wife, 25 years. I met her here in Colorado very shortly after I moved out here. So both my kids, my son's 24, my daughter's 21. So they're adults themselves now. But yeah, they were born and raised here. And it's funny, the 25-year mark, which was in September of this year, marked the first time that I've lived longer in Colorado than any other place. And so, yeah, so this is home now. Like I said, my kids are born and raised here and met my wife here. And so, outside my sports teams, this is now home for me.
I was just gonna say that, dude. So do your kids like sports?
They do, but they're not as adamant about it. You know, my daughter did gymnastics. My son is was
Okay.
very big into Boy Scouts growing up and everything, but they're not, they're not big sports fans. Sit down Sunday and watch football, type of kids.
Okay.
So
But
they have their
they're
own hobbies and their own interests, and unfortunately for me, sports isn't one of them.
okay. So they're not, I was gonna say if they're Eagles or Broncos fans and so I'll just ask you the
They
question
root,
then.
and especially with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl last year. They were on board with all of that, and rooting for the Eagles, but they're not diehards.
Yeah, okay, that's funny. You are, however, and even though you've lived here, so how long do you have to live here before you actually start cheering for the home team?
You know what? It's AFC, NFC, and it's the same thing with basketball. It's always the reverse conference, and so we very rarely play each other. Like in football, we play once every 4 years, and it switches. So it's
Yeah.
really, I've been out here for 25 years, and I've gotten to see my team play in Denver 3 times, and that just tells you how
Yeah.
infrequent it is. So outside of when my teams are playing, if they're playing, I obviously root for the Eagles, but outside of that, I'm a Broncos and Avs and Avs owe the trade with the Philadelphia Forsberg for oh god, why am I blanking on the name? Eric Lindros. And
Yeah,
so you
that was a
got
long
back
time ago.
Hayduke, you got back Forsberg, you got back a bunch of picks, which you traded for Wah. So I attribute, those first 2 cups of the Avs to the Flyers trade there. But
Well,
in
thank you,
in it,
Flyers.
yeah,
That's
in
very
all
kind of
seriousness,
you.
though, I do root for the Denver Sports when they're not directly, up against my Philadelphia teams.
All right, well, let's shift into the pine stuff with pine that you're doing. So you a couple months now, so you get your getting your feet under you still.
Yep.
But tell us what your role is, what you do for the company and how it's going.
Yeah, so I'm a loan officer. So my job is to go out and find new opportunities to put money to work for Pine. And so we obviously have, the website and a lot of referrals coming in just from, how long Pine has been in the industry and how well known they are. But there's also opportunities now to go out and cold call and find new business and introduce, people to Pine who may not have heard, of our private lending and how we do things. And so that's my role is now to, handle the referrals that come in as well as go out and find new business to put money to work for Pine.
Cool. What's a piece of advice you give our viewer? Maybe if they're a newer real estate investor trying to get going, like maybe someone that you would be talking to on the phone, a client of yours, what's a piece of advice you could share?
Yeah, and so I've talked to people before who have said, "Well, I didn't come to Pine because I didn't think you did those type of loans." And so, what I would recommend is that if you are, looking at an opportunity and it requires, some outside the box thinking, I think that's one of the things I really appreciate Pine. Everything is not, just check a box. If it has this, good. You guys will look at the deal, and if it makes sense, even if it's land or new construction or a bridge financing. I just did one on a meth home that was going to foreclosure sale in a week, and so Pine was able to get the guy underwritten and we closed, and the title company took the funds to the trustee, so it didn't go to sale the next day. And so that's the one thing that I really appreciate with Pine is that no deals off limits. We'll look at anything, and if the numbers make sense, and you've got a good game plan exit strategy, we'll seriously consider doing the deal. And so that's what I would just say to everybody is that give us a call, pick up the phone, at least run it by us and see if it's an opportunity for us to work together, and then just don't assume that hey, that's that we won't do it.
Yeah, I echo everything you just said and want to reiterate how good of a team member you could be for a real estate investor, especially someone that's trying to get into the fix and flip business because of your resume. And you brushed over it, but you've done retail stuff on the agent, but you've also
Yep.
specialized in working with real estate investors and creative type financing and that sort of thing. But it's just years and years and years of experience in real estate and specifically fix and flips and working with real estate investors. So you're
And
an
distressed assets.
absolute
Sometimes those are your
distressed
best
assets.
opportunities in the marketplace is, your Aunt Jenny's house who lives right next door, and no, they live in Seattle now. Nobody's in the house. It's in foreclosure. Some of those are some of the best deals. And so, foreclosure, distressed, lien, property, fire burned, meth, some of those opportunities are where you get the biggest discounts and the most money. And so I've got a ton of practical experience with all of those. So by all means, I'm here. I'm willing to share my knowledge and help you find that deal. And I'll also be honest with you if it's not a deal. And so
Yeah.
I've had to have some of those frank conversations too.
Yeah.
We had a wholesale transaction just the other day. It looked great on paper, but when you dug into it and just saw the amount of work, the scope of the work, as well as the after repair value, the margins were just too tight. And it was a first deal. He was all excited about it, but I let him know, hey, there's better deals to be had, and I think you're going to struggle. And that's the worst thing you can do is set somebody up for failure just to get the loan in the door, and knowing that they're going to struggle to make a profit on it at the end of the day. And so I think that's our job, is to be as honest and offer full disclosure when it's going to be a fantastic deal, and be totally honest and brutally honest when it's not going to work in your best interest. And so that's what we're here for. That's
Yeah.
what that's the experience and what we bring to the table.
Yeah, and that's actually where I was going with my question. Because of your experience, you really can help and mentor somebody, and we don't always have to do the loan. Now, obviously, we make money when we do loans, so we'd like to close loans. But with that said, you're willing to just get on the phone and help somebody out if they have some questions, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's where I come back to: run everything by us, give us an opportunity if we can make it work. If not, I'm more than happy to either share my knowledge or point you to a resource that may be able to help you.
Okay, perfect. So before we get your contact information, one thing that most people don't know about you that you're willing to
Oh,
share.
put me on the spot here, Kevin.
That's fun,
Uh,
right?
geez, I don't even know where to go with that. One thing that most people don't know about me. I don't know.
All right. I'll let you off the
Yeah,
hook.
got me on the spot on that one.
Yeah, well, maybe if you think of it, let me know and I'll throw it in the newsletter.
All
All
right.
right, how do we get a hold of you? Let's say we want to work with you. We have some questions about real estate. We're interested in fixing and flipping, or the BRRRR strategy, or something else where a short-term bridge loan would come in, or rehab or fix and flip loan would come in. How do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, like you would everybody else at Pine Financial. It's Ken at pinefinancialgroup.com, or our website, pinefinancialgroup.com. All the phone numbers, emails, and everything are on that website as well. Just feel free to reach out to me, as well as any of our LOs. We're all very helpful, and everybody here. That's the one thing I love about this company. Everybody is so excited to be here. They see the opportunity we have. Everybody just helps each other out. Underwriters, processors, but that's how you get in touch with us, pinefinancialgroup.com. You can fill out the application, the form there, or just reach out to me directly.
Thank you, Ken. I got to tell you, it's been such a pleasure to get to know you over the last couple of months. I'm learning a lot from you. I don't know if you know that or not, but I just see how you
Likewise.
work, and how we went to lunch, and we need to do that more often, by the way, and maybe we'll get some drinks next time. But I really am enjoying working with you, and I'm so grateful that you decided to join the team. So I want to say welcome, man, and I'm excited for the future.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm excited to be here, and the future's bright. This company is fantastic. It's going places, and so I can't imagine being in a better spot right now. So I'm loving it. Thank you very much.
All right, for the viewer, thank you so much for checking out the video, meeting Mr. Ken Blevins. If you like what you saw, check out other videos, hit like, hit subscribe, and I hope you make this day a great one.